Hello and welcome. I'm Karen the Smainer, mom, and it's my goal to bring real life help to real life moms. Today I'm in my kitchen. I'm food prepping. I'm getting my refrigerator restocked and cleaned out and just giving myself a reset. I hope you'll join me. You could do your own food prep while you watch mine, or you could just enjoy and watch and be motivated. You'll want to stick around to the end of this video because I have a special recipe that my husband has created, and I'm calling it Loaded Corn Chowder. I'm starting out grating some mozzarella cheese for a keto fathead pizza. I've made this before and I'll link to the recipe in the description box below. This is a recipe I love when I'm super hungry. It's so filling and it's just nice to have it available and around for an easy lunch. If you like these types of videos, please consider subscribing by clicking on the red watermark in the bottom right hand corner, and please click on the like button. Into the cheese goes my egg. Added to that is 1 tablespoon of softened cream cheese. I'm stirring it until it's well incorporated, and then it's ready to be spread and cooked. Here's where I went wrong. Normally I put it on parchment paper, which I was out of, so I decided to try aluminum foil, and I'll tell you that it stuck on the edges, and I would not do it on aluminum foil unless I had greased it first. Fortunately, after lunch, I'm heading to the grocery store and I'll be able to pick up some parchment paper. While my crust is in the oven, I'm cutting up some orange bell pepper and some onion and some mushrooms that will be my toppings. It's after lunch now and I've gone to the grocery store, and so here's a bit of my mess of things that need to go in the refrigerator, but I had a big problem. There was no room in the refrigerator because I hadn't cleaned it out since Thanksgiving. So I'm making that right by cleaning out the refrigerator now, getting rid of all the things I should have gotten rid of before, and reorganizing to make room for what I've just bought, and then I'll get back to food prep again. Our kitchen's always busy. You can see Yvonne behind me emptying the dishwasher. It's always nice to have teenagers around to help. You can see with so much going on, I don't even have a counter to put things on, so I'm making good use of the floor while I reorganize the refrigerator. Of course, now the trash is too full, so I need to get that empty before I can go any further. I'm wondering if anyone else can relate. You're trying to get one job done and it's creating other jobs, and you just work your way around. That's my son Francois on the right-hand side of the screen, and he offered, thankfully, to take the trash out for me. Now that the trash can's empty, I'm back in business. I'm always watching these YouTube channels where they have these huge refrigerators and they have it all sectioned out with nice containers. Yeah, that's not my refrigerator. This is my real life. Lots of people, little refrigerator, but that's okay, it works. While I was cleaning out the fridge, I noticed that my fall magnets were still on there, so I'm getting those put away. With the fridge cleaned up, I can get back to food prep. That's my daughter Ava that you see behind me. I'm real glad to have a new package of parchment paper because I do not food prep without parchment paper. I'm starting my food prep with dividing up some turkey burger. I'm going to divide that pound into 4 different sections. 3 of those sections will go in the freezer and 1 will go in the fridge. And the way I do it is I divide it up and I put it in saran wrap. And then once I have them sectioned out, I'll put 3 of them that are going in the freezer in a Gladlock bag, and I can put the final 1 in the fridge that will get used right away. I do the saran wrap because it's just so much easier to take out 1 portion size at a time and defrost it in the microwave without having to defrost the whole package. Now I'm doing the same thing with hamburger patties. 3 are going to go in the freezer and 1's going to go in the refrigerator, and I'm going to wrap them in saran wrap and put the ones that are being frozen in a Gladlock bag. Now I'm going to get some turkey burger cooked up, and I do this for my older son who has a job that's a bit far away, and he uses these for his lunches. I put these in a 400-degree oven and I cook them for about 20 minutes, and then they come out perfect. The first batch of bacon is in the oven, so now I have some fresh kale, and what I'm doing with the kale is I'm going to blot it dry. It came home super wet from the grocery store, and I'm also cutting the stems out of the kale so that it doesn't take up as much space when I'm trying to store it. I figure we don't eat the stems anyway, so why not get rid of them now? I'm getting the kale in Gladlock bags, and then they'll go in the refrigerator. You'll notice I always look like I'm talking in these videos. Well, with 6 kids living at home, there's always someone who's either visiting me in the kitchen or has a question for me, so you'll notice I'm doing a lot of talking. Sometimes this backfires in cooking mistakes, but luckily today's food prep was pretty easy and straightforward. Next, I'm preparing 2 supper meals for my older daughter who has a lot of food sensitivities, so she often doesn't eat what we eat. I'm going to be taking 2 boneless breasts of chicken, 2 potatoes, and some carrots, and I'm going to be baking them on 1 sheet with some Italian seasoning, and that will be 2 suppers for her. Notice I always use a bag from the grocery store to put my peels and garbage in as I'm food prepping. That's just my normal habit, and then it's just really easy to tie it up and throw it away, and it doesn't make the trash stink because it's wrapped in plastic. I can't cook these until my bacon comes out of the oven, so as I cut the potatoes, I'm putting them in a bowl of cold water. That way I don't have to worry about them turning brown. While I'm waiting for the oven still, I'm just putting away some things from our lunch dishes. And you'll notice when I open that corner cabinet, it's a mess. So you're gonna see me very soon coming out with a video where I'm reorganizing my kitchen cupboards. That first batch of bacon is coming out of the oven, and then I'll be taking it off, putting it on a plate, and putting another batch right back in the oven. Thanks to the magic of video, that second batch of bacon is coming out, so I'm getting it put on the plate and letting it cool down so that I can bag it up and put it in the fridge. Now I'm ready to make my daughter's supper, so I'm just pouring out those potatoes once they're drained, and I'm hitting them with some avocado oil spray. And then we buy these individually wrapped chicken breasts, which is really convenient because you can thaw one of them out at a time. So I'm just getting those out of their little containers and putting them down. And I'm just sprinkling the salt, pepper, basil, parsley, oregano, thyme, and garlic powder down. I don't measure it, I just kind of sprinkle it across. It'll go in a 400-degree oven for 45 minutes, and then it will be done. Now let's make some chowder. We'll start with cooking some pork bacon in a 400-degree oven for about 20 minutes. I'm spraying my pan, my Dutch oven, and I'm putting in 3 chicken breasts, as you can see. So you saw that right. We're putting breast of chicken and bacon in our corn chowder, which is why I called it loaded. So I'm just gonna let that chicken cook through. It seemed like the bottom was searing too much, so I just added a little bit of water. Once my chicken is cooked through, I'm just dicing it up and setting it aside. My bacon is coming out, and I'm gonna put the next batch in because we're doing the whole package of bacon. Let's face it, you can never have too much bacon. Now I'm just getting the corn ready by opening 1 can of cream corn and 1 can of regular whole kernel corn. The bacon's ready, so I'm just going to cut it up with some kitchen shears. Now we're getting our chowder base ready by cooking a roux. So what we're doing is we have about 1/2 stick of butter that we've sliced up, and we're letting that melt. The melted butter, we added about 1/8 cup of flour and got it incorporated in, mixed in really well. And then we added about 1/2 cup to 1 cup of milk, and incorporated that all in. You'll be adding more milk later, but we're just making the roux here. If you're gluten-free, you're going to want to use cornstarch instead of flour. This is where I decided to help my husband with the whisking because I was afraid he wasn't getting it whisked quick enough. Now we're slowly adding about 3 cups of chicken broth. We're adding and whisking and adding and whisking. Just add it slowly so that you don't get too much because you don't want it making your chowder too thin. Once your chicken broth is all added in, then you're going to add about 6 slices of American cheese. You could use cheddar if you prefer it. And you're putting it in and whisking it up until it's all melted. Into this mixture goes the cream corn. Now he's dropping in the potatoes so that they can simmer until they're cooked. Another option would have been to cook the potatoes when you put the chicken broth in before you put in the milk and the cheese. Either way, I was kind of surprised this worked, but it did. Potatoes are cooked, we can add the kernel corn, and you saw me adding the salt and pepper. Now we're adding back our chicken and stirring it around again. I would say because of the milk and cheese, you want to keep stirring it, not leave it too long to itself, or it'll stick to the bottom. We're finishing up adding the chicken broth here, but we actually added milk too, and I lost the footage. So you just want enough milk so you have as much broth as you prefer, and so that it is as thick or thin as you want. All that's left to do is add that bacon in, stir it around, let it simmer a little bit, and it's ready to be served. I hope you enjoyed this food prep and this loaded corn chowder recipe. Let me know in the comments below if you decide to try it. I thank you so much for watching today. Please consider subscribing to my channel. Click the bell notification. Doesn't that chowder look good? So, like, comment, subscribe. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time. Bye!